The transgender experience, once rooted in personal truth and resilience, has been co-opted by those in power, specifically wealthy cisgender men. What should have been a path to self-discovery and liberation has now become a commodified version of gender identity curated for male approval and societal expectations. This article explores the disturbing ways cis men have hijacked the narrative of trans identity, distorting it into something that fits their ideals while harming those it should uplift. It's time for us to reclaim our story on our terms. Hijacking the narrative. In my 20s I stood tall, passable and able to move through the world with less scrutiny. Back then, being trans didn't come with a rule book, and the pressure to conform to rigid standards of femininity wasn't as suffocating as it is today. Sure, it wasn't perfect, there was stigma, ignorance, and plenty of hostility. But there was also a strange freedom in the ambiguity, a sense that people didn't quite know what to make of you. Fast forward to today and that freedom is gone. Cisgender men have taken over the narrative of what it means to be trans, turning our identities into something that must be bought and shaped and curated to fit their gaze. Our visibility, once a tool for empowerment, has been hijacked. But instead of seeing our humanity, they see us as an opportunity to mold another version of womanhood that meets their desires. Trans identity, a survivance. Here's the truth. Being transgender is not about how you look. It's not about how much you've spent on surgery, how well you pass, or how closely you align with society's idea of a perfect woman. It's about how you feel, how you live in your truth in a world that actively tries to erase it. It's about survival, about standing in your body, however that body looks, and declaring, this is me. But today, the trans experience is judged through a lens crafted by cis men, men who have dictated the terms of womanhood for centuries. It's their version of what a real trans woman should look like. The curves, the lips, the soft eyes that cater to their fantasies. It's a creation, a Frankenstein version of womanhood they built but were forced to live in it. If you don't fit this mold, you're cast aside, ridiculed, ignored, even by your own community. The gatekeepers of passing. This is the tragedy of our community today. The same community that was supposed to be a refuge for all of us has now been fractured. Those who can afford the surgeries and look like they were plucked from a fantasy catalog get the validation. But those of us who can't or won't meet these standards, we're left in the margins, forgotten or worse, shamed for not playing the game right. I made a choice not to take hormones, not because I don't want to feel more aligned with the woman I am, but because I know what those chemicals can do to my body. My body is God's creation, and I've chosen to live comfortably within it. That choice doesn't fit the mold men have crafted for us. And because I've chosen to honor my body, I'm treated as though I'm not really trans, as though my identity is somehow less valid. This is the lie we've been sold, that being trans is only valid if it fits male expectations, the forgotten voices. There are so many of us, trans women, who either can't or don't want to conform to this ideal. We're told directly or indirectly that we're not enough, not trans enough, not woman enough. Consider the women who never even start transitioning, those who are too afraid of failing in the eyes of society to even begin. These women who have always been women are terrified they'll never pass, and because of that fear they never step into their truth. What's worse, the trans women who make it turn around and look down on the rest of us, those who fit the standard become gatekeepers, telling the rest of us that we're not good enough for the community we helped build. Cis men. The hijack.
Our community has been hijacked by cis men who, for whatever reason, feel entitled to define our experience for us. They believe they have the right to dictate what we should look like, how we should act, and what we don't need the validation from men to know who we are. Don't let the men tell you that you're not valid.
We are valid, we exist, and our stories matter.
Call to action. This isn't just my fight, it's our fight. It's time to reclaim our identity, take back our narrative, and build a community where everyone is enough. Where the women who can won't pass are as valued as those who do, and that starts today. Support trans voices, stand against the male-driven narrative, and help us create a world where our identity is defined by us, not by them. If you want to get involved or learn more, here are some resources to support trans advocacy and activism.
Transgender Law Center.
National Center for Transgender Equality.
Take action.